Hey y'all, I'm Izzy Shows, and today we're going to talk about writing with ADD. Now I know it's not the sexiest topic out there, but it is one that's very near and dear to my heart, and I think it's one that needs to be talked about. I feel like there are a lot of us writers out there that are struggling with mental illnesses, and it's very important to give voice to those people. And playing off something that I talked about last week, representation is very near and dear to my heart. I just repeated that. Whoops. Um, but it's very important to me, and I feel like, these writers like me with mental health issues deserve representation so that, positive representation so that we all know that we can all do this and it's not just for neurotypicals, and it's attainable for us. So that's why I'm going to talk about it today, and also in the hopes that maybe some of the things that I share today could help other people kind of cope with their ADD in relation to their creative pursuits like writing, because technically not everything is related to writing in this, but as an author, most of my advice is going to be geared toward writers. So on that note, I have ADD. I also have clinical depression / I'm bipolar. I also have a general anxiety disorder, and I have complex PTSD, and I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting something else. Now you may ask, why am I telling you these things that are typically considered very personal and most people play very close to their chest with them? Well, like I said, representation is important to me, and I think I've made it pretty clear on this channel that transparency is important to me, and I am very willing to be the person who stands up and says, hey, I have this, I'm struggling with this, you're not alone, you can talk to me about these things. So yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and put that out there. It also kind of gives a little credence to this video, is that I have these issues and this is what I've done to work with them. So the first thing that I'm going to say on this topic is I am not a doctor, and you need to go see a doctor. Seriously, I cannot stress enough how much going to a doctor has changed everything in my life for me. I see it all over the fucking internet all day, every day, all of this complete and utter bullshit about how medication changes your brain and you can't create good and real art if you're on medication, and you have to suffer for your art, and it's part of paying your dues and this, that, and the other, and it's such complete and total bullshit. And don't believe anyone who tells you that. You don't have to suffer to make good art. In fact, if you're suffering, you're probably not going to make your best art because you can't put all of yourself into it. And we all want to be able to focus entirely on our art, right? Well, if you're depressed like I am, then pre-medication, you probably have some issues with having like a hazy, clouded mind and not being able to get out of bed and constantly being exhausted. Those things make it really difficult for you to think and make it really difficult for you to feel motivated enough to sit down and get those words out. And guess what? Medication helps those problems go away. Medication helps you think. So, I'm not a doctor. This advice is not going to magically cure any of your problems. Go see a doctor. But also, this stuff has helped me cope with my stuff, and maybe it'll help you cope with your stuff. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's continue. I only recently saw a doctor about 1.5 years ago to start getting on the road to treatment. But I also started writing Grave Mistake about 1.5 years ago. In about May of 2016 was when I went to the doctor for the first time, and we decided to focus in on one of my issues at a time. And so the first thing that we focused on was my depression. And that was kind of like the key to getting me clear enough to be able to write. I cannot talk or speak to writing with depression because honestly, for me, I just couldn't do it. I'm sorry, but I really don't have much in the way of advice as far as writing with depression goes, because my depression was really bad and it really limited my ability to create things. Like I went 4 years without writing anything. It was really that bad, and it was really painful to me. It compounded the depression that I wasn't able to write and allow myself that outlet. So, there are other people who are able to write while depressed, and, more power to them, but I couldn't do it, so I can't really speak to that. I can speak to writing with ADD, because while I started going to the doctor about 1.5 years ago, I only started talking to them about my ADD about a few months ago. So I started writing Grave Mistake about a month after I got on my depression bipolar medication. And I got Grave Mistake written, and then I went on and I wrote the rest of the books between then and a few months ago without my ADD medication. And I developed I put in place a few systems to help keep me on track and keep me focused that enabled me to work around my ADD. And I'm going to share those things with you. So I made a total of 4 changes in my life that really helped me with my ADD. And I'm going to preface all of this with a statement that I really recommend that you only make 1 change at a time. If you change too many things in your life at once, then you're very likely to get overwhelmed and abandon all of them. Whereas if you make 1 sustainable change at a time and you allow it to build up and then add another, it has a greater chance of sticking. And that's actually going to be another video that I talk about, is habit forming, because I've got a really good system down for forming habits. So we're going to go over that and how to use that to help you with your writing. But that's a topic for a different day. Okay, so the first change that I implemented was sprinting. I know a lot of people talk about sprinting and how helpful it is, so I'm just going to lend my voice to that. Sprinting really made a huge change for me, because I found that I would sit down at the computer to write, and after a little while I would get not bored isn't the right word, but I needed to do other things, and frequently that meant that I would just click over to Facebook for like totally 5 minutes. I swear it's only going to be 5 minutes. I just need to check this one thing, right? And then I would lose 3 hours. So that was not working very well. I wasn't getting very much writing done during the day. I think I was struggling to hit like NaNoWriMo goals, which is like 1,667 words a day, which if you've been playing along with me, then you know that I write about 12,000 words a day now. So huge change there. Sprinting really works for me. I had to experiment a little bit to figure out what sprint time would work best for me. I played around with 10, 20, and 30-minute sprints, and I found out that 20-minute sprints were really the sweet spot for me, where it was just enough time for me to get into the flow of things and get some really good words written down, but it wasn't so long that I was getting distracted. And sprints are great because they come with built-in breaks. So I get 10-minute breaks between each 20-minute sprint, where I am allowed to go on Facebook and screw around for a little bit. And it's really helpful because I know that I only have 10 minutes to do this, and then I have something that I have to do at the end of those 10 minutes, which is another sprint. So it really helps keep me on track. And at the end of the writing day, I have a spreadsheet where I record all of my sprints. And I really love having all of them recorded like that, because then I can look back on the day and be like, hey, I got this much done, and this is how much time I spent working. And it's just really nice for me, because I have this mental thing where if I know that I need to write it down, I'm more motivated to get it done because I'm going to be really disappointed with myself if it doesn't get written down. So yeah, sprinting and keeping a sprint log really helped as my change number 1. Change number 2 was that I started outlining. Now I know outlining versus pantsing is a really big debate, and I'm not going to get into that here now because we would probably be here forever if we argued that till we were blue in the face and we still wouldn't get anywhere. And I'm not going to go over my actual outlining process right now because that is going to be another video that I'll do later on, because that's something that I could probably talk about for a good while. So we'll just leave it at I started outlining, and that really helped me because I didn't have to worry about where the story was going. I already knew the entire story, and I had a summary. I have about a paragraph or two summary for each chapter, and I knew this is exactly what's happening in this chapter. All my brain has to do is flesh it out into an actual narrative instead of a summary. And my brain doesn't have to be going, well, what's going to happen next and next and next and next. I already know what's going to happen next. I just have to get this one thing done at a time. And in tandem with that, little bonus tool that everybody knows about already is Scrivener. Scrivener really helped with my, not with the outlining process, but with using the outline. Because the way Scrivener is formatted is that each chapter gets its own little page. So you're not writing in one giant document like you would in Microsoft Word. Each chapter gets a page. And so it allowed me to focus in and really concentrate on just the one scene at a time, which is really nice because if I have too many things, then I can't concentrate and I have to look at all of the things. So having just one scene to look at a time and knowing that I just need to focus on what's happening in this scene because what's happening in the next scene is already figured out really enabled me to zero in on what I was doing and get it done without my brain flying off the edge. So outlining really changed things for me, and I know outlining isn't for everyone, but if you're ADD, I would honestly really recommend it because it was pretty instrumental in getting my writing on a consistent basis to working around my ADD. So yeah, that was change number 2. Change number 3 is that I started another spreadsheet. This is my year in writing spreadsheet, and it's really helpful to me. I don't know if it would be to other people. I know some people have looked at it and said that it is a little intimidating. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a screenshot of it into here. So we're just gonna give me 2 seconds to float that screenshot. Okay, was that enough time? But yeah, so that's my year in writing spreadsheet. And basically what I do is I plot out. I know that I can write 12,000 words a day. I have a general idea of how long each book is going to be. And then I plot out how many days I need to write it. And then I've got my whole schedule planned out in front of me. So I know exactly where I need to be at a specific point of the month, specific point of the year. You know, I can just glance at this spreadsheet at random and be like, am I on track? Is everything okay? Because something that was really concerning for me, I don't know if this is an ADD thing, but I also have a big problem with catastrophic thinking, where like one little thing will pop up in my mind as being wrong, and then suddenly the world is ending. It'll like snowball into the world is ending. Honestly, you would be surprised at how many little things I can freak out about enough that it'll turn into the world is ending. But yeah, so I can take a look at that spreadsheet and be like, hey, I've got, 5 days left in this book and I'm on track and my schedule is under control. And for the most part, my schedule has not been under control so far, but I'm getting better. I actually really am. So I'm really excited about that and about getting on a more consistent schedule. But yeah, what I do is at the end of the writing day, I will take a look at my sprint tracker sheet and I'll look at the total word count for the day. And then I'll go over to the corresponding day on my year in writing spreadsheet and I will plug it in. So my year in writing spreadsheet is kind of like a look ahead and a look back at the same time, where like I can see what I'm planned to do going forward, and I'm also keeping up with what I have been doing so that I can see if I'm still on track. So my year in writing spreadsheet has been really helpful for me because what I do is I plan the whole thing out once, and then I don't have to worry about where, like how I'm doing as far as if I'm keeping on track or if I'm running behind. I already know where I'm supposed to be and whether or not I'm where I'm supposed to be. Because a really big problem that I was having is that I would, instead of getting writing done, I would freak out that, like, I would start thinking, you know, am I taking too long to write this book? Do I have enough time to write this book? And I would freak out about that instead of writing the book. So now being able to glance at the schedule and know whether or not I'm on track with a book is really helpful for me. So that was change number 3. So my fourth and final change kind of goes hand in hand with change number 1 and number 3, sprints and tracking. You can see it behind me. It's my calendar. So what I do is at the beginning of every month, I take a look at my year in writing spreadsheet and I take that month of the spreadsheet and I put it into calendar format where I can very easily just glance over while I'm sitting at my desk and see where I am during the month and if I'm keeping pace with the month. But that is not the only function that the calendar serves. The calendar is basically taking me back to 3rd grade where I have stickers. They're not a reward so much as like an achievement acknowledgement, where for a specific amount of words I get a sticker. Pink is 500 words. Pink is 500 words, I had to check. Yellow is 1,000 words, orange is 2,000 words, and green is 5,000 words. And so at the end of the writing day, I look at my sprint log again, and I look at how many words I've got done for that day, and then I will give myself enough stickers to add up to my daily word count. And I know that seems like a really silly little thing that isn't necessary, but it's a great motivator to keep you going throughout the day, which is really important because when you have ADD, it's very easy to get distracted by the 1,001 other things that you think you need to be doing, and then there's this one thing that just popped up that like would be totally interesting to go and look at, and there's just 1,010 things going on that you want to deal with, but knowing that I have a little acknowledgement sticker coming for me at the end of the day really motivates me to get it done because I want to get my sticker. I'm going to be really sad if I don't get my sticker. So it's really it's really silly, but it actually does help. I think like I said, it takes me back to 3rd grade where it's like the teacher gave you a sticker and you felt like super cool and super appreciated. Like it's that mental association where even though it's you giving the sticker, you still feel appreciated and you want to feel that appreciation at the end of the day. So you want to get your sticker. So the calendar, kind of silly, doesn't seem that important to other people, but it really does help me. So, you know, I keep it. I like it. So there you go. Those are the tools that I used, or that I use to help me to help me cope with my ADD so that I can write. They were incredibly instrumental for keeping me on track while I was writing without medication. And even though things are a lot easier now that I do have medication, they're still pretty helpful and I love using them. And I like all of the information at my fingertips that I get with using these tools. So I really hope that this video has helped you, and if it hasn't, then I'm sorry. But I totally want to open up not a forum, no, I mean a forum in the old sense. I want to open up a communication line where, like, if you have any questions about writing with ADD, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'm gonna make another reminder that I am neither a doctor nor a therapist, and I cannot give you medical advice, and I cannot become your therapist and work through all of your issues with you. But if you have general questions about like whether or not something would be helpful, or if you just like someone to commiserate for 5 minutes about how difficult it is to write with a mental illness, feel free to leave a comment. I will definitely talk to you about that. I am all here for supporting you with that, and I think we all need to kind of come together on that one as a community. I'm all for that. But yeah, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos on Wednesdays most of the time. Look, I'm doing a lot better now, aren't I? If you have any questions or if you have anything to say at all, you can leave me a comment down below, or you can tweet me at Izzy Shows, or you can drop me a line on my Tumblr if you'd like to be anonymous. Feel free to also suggest a YouTube video. I will give you a shout out if I like your idea and I do it. Yeah, so I love you all so very much, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Bye!